Is patriarchy really the root of all societal ills? Now that's a question that's stirred up quite a bit of debate in recent years, but before we dive into that, let's clarify what we mean by patriarchy. It's a term often thrown around in discussions about gender and society. It refers to a system where men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. However, the concept of patriarchy isn't quite as black and white as it's often painted. It's shrouded in a cloud of misconceptions and outright lies that can blur our understanding. Some see it as a universal truth, others believe that men always benefit from it, and there are those who think it's an inevitable part of society. But is there any truth to these beliefs? Or are they just myths, perpetuated by misunderstandings and misinformation? Today, we will debunk some of these misconceptions and reveal the truths that lie beneath. One enduring myth is the belief that all societies, past and present, are patriarchal. This is a widespread misconception, but it's far from being an absolute truth. Let's delve into why this is a myth and how evidence from various anthropological and historical studies proves otherwise. In the realm of anthropology, we find numerous examples of societies that aren't patriarchal. Take, for instance, the Mosuo people of China, a community still thriving today. They're an example of a matrilineal society, where lineage and inheritance are traced through the female line. The women of the Mosuo society hold significant power, making key decisions for their families and communities. Then there's the Minangkabau of West Sumatra, the world's largest matrilineal society. In their culture, property and land pass from mother to daughter. The women are the decision makers in their households, debunking the idea that all societies are inherently patriarchal. Historically, we also see examples of matriarchal societies. The ancient civilization of Cataluyuk, which existed around 7,500 years ago in what is now modern-day Turkey, is believed to have been egalitarian. Archaeological evidence suggests that men and women held equal status in their society, a stark contrast to the patriarchal norm we often assume. These examples are not anomalies. They are a testament to the variety of societal structures that have existed and continue to exist around the world. They help us understand that patriarchy, while prevalent, is not a universal phenomenon. It's crucial to recognize these different societal structures to break free from the confines of the patriarchal narrative. The truth is, patriarchy is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It's not a universal constant, but rather a societal structure that varies across different cultures and time periods. To claim otherwise is to ignore the rich tapestry of human societal structures. So, let's put this myth to rest once and for all. The belief that all societies, past and present, are patriarchal is a sweeping generalization that simply doesn't hold up under scrutiny. Clearly, patriarchy is not a universal phenomenon as some would have us believe. Another common lie is that all men benefit from patriarchy. While it might seem like men have the upper hand in a patriarchal society, the reality is more complex. Many men, in fact, face negative repercussions from the societal structure known as patriarchy. One of these repercussions is the manifestation of toxic masculinity. This term refers to the harmful expectations placed on men to be tough, unemotional, and dominant. Men are often discouraged from expressing their emotions or showing vulnerability, which can lead to a variety of mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. Scientific research supports this. A study published in the Journal of Counseling Psychology found that men who adhere to traditionally masculine norms tend to have poorer mental health and are less likely to seek psychological help. This is not a benefit, but a detriment. Patriarchy also places societal expectations on men to be the primary breadwinner. While this might seem advantageous, it can actually create an immense pressure to succeed professionally, often at the expense of personal happiness and work-life balance. Men who are unable to fulfill this role may feel emasculated or inadequate, further feeding into mental health issues. Not to mention the expectations of physical strength and aggression often associated with masculinity. Men are expected to be strong and assertive, and those who don't match up to these standards may be seen as less manly. This can lead to feelings of alienation and low self-esteem. Moreover, patriarchy can negatively impact men's relationships. The pressure to conform to traditional gender roles can limit men's ability to form deep, meaningful connections with others. It can affect their romantic relationships, friendships, and even their relationships with their children. So, as you can see, the claim that men always benefit from patriarchy is far from the truth. It's a system that not only oppresses women, but also puts an unfair burden on many men. It turns out, patriarchy is not always a win for men either. Is patriarchy an inevitable part of human society? Let's peel back the layers of this erroneous assumption, shall we? You might think that patriarchy, being as widespread as it is, must be an inescapable part of our human heritage. But in fact, many societies have strayed from the patriarchal path, demonstrating that this system isn't an inherent part of human nature. Take, for instance, the Akan people of Ghana. Here, matrilineal inheritance is the norm, with property and power passed down through the female line. Or consider the Mosuo people of China, where a matriarchal system has thrived for centuries. These examples show that patriarchy isn't the only possible societal structure. But let's not stop there. It's important to understand that societal structures aren't static. They can and do change over time. In the past, feudalism was the dominant system in many parts of the world. It was then replaced by capitalism. Similarly, societies are capable of moving away from patriarchal structures. Consider the strides made in gender equality over the last century. Women have gained the right to vote, the right to education, and the right to work in many countries, challenging and changing the patriarchal norms. Even in countries where patriarchy is deeply entrenched, women are making significant strides in politics, business, and other spheres, further shaking the foundations of the system. Moreover, the rise of gender-neutral parenting, where roles aren't strictly defined by gender, is another example of society's shift away from patriarchal norms. Today, we see more men embracing caregiving roles, while more women are breaking barriers in fields traditionally dominated by men. All of these examples show that patriarchy is not a given. It's not a natural law like gravity that we just have to accept. Instead, it is a societal construct that can be deconstructed and replaced with a more equitable system. So let's put this lie to rest. Patriarchy, like any other societal structure, is not inevitable. Now that we've debunked these lies, what truths emerge? Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered so far. We began by debunking the notion that patriarchy is universal. While it's true that many societies throughout history have been patriarchal, it's not a universal truth. There are societies, past and present, that have been matriarchal or egalitarian. Next, we exposed the lie that men always benefit from patriarchy. While it's true that men often hold more power in patriarchal societies, this doesn't necessarily translate into benefits for all men. Men also suffer under the constraints and expectations of these systems, and it's essential to recognize this. Finally, we tore down the myth that patriarchy is inevitable. History and cultural diversity have shown us that patriarchy is not a fixed or absolute condition. Societies evolve, and it's within our power to shape them. So what truths replace these debunked myths? One key truth is that societal structures are complex. They can't be boiled down to simple binaries or absolutes. They're influenced by a multitude of factors, including but not limited to history, economics, religion, and culture. Another crucial truth is that power dynamics in a society are not universally beneficial or harmful. They often have mixed effects, benefiting some while disadvantaging others. Recognizing this complexity is vital for a nuanced understanding. Furthermore, the truth is that change is possible. Societies are not static, and neither are their power structures. Our actions, attitudes, and choices can contribute towards societal change. In conclusion, The truths that emerge are that societal structures are complex, power dynamics are not universally beneficial, and change is possible. Each of these truths underscores the need for a nuanced understanding. They challenge us to look beyond the surface, to delve deeper into the intricacies of societal structures. The next time someone tells you something about patriarchy, you'll be well equipped to distinguish fact from fiction. In conclusion, it's clear that our understanding of patriarchy is fraught with misconceptions. We've looked at 3 of the most common lies about patriarchy: that it's universal, that men always benefit from it, and that it's inevitable. But as we've seen, these beliefs don't hold up under scrutiny. The truth is, patriarchy isn't a global phenomenon. It varies across cultures and societies. Men often pay a high price under patriarchal systems, facing pressure to conform to unrealistic standards of masculinity. And patriarchy isn't inevitable. It's a societal construct which can and should be challenged. This isn't just an academic discussion. These misconceptions shape our worldviews and influence our actions, often in harmful ways. So it's vital that we continue to educate ourselves about the realities of patriarchy, questioning our assumptions and challenging our biases. Remember, a nuanced understanding of societal structures is key to promoting equality and justice for all.